I think those figures are truly shocking, but it's not surprising considering the amount of negative press that the police have received over the past 12 to 18 months.
What do you think can be done about it?
There's quite a few things actually that could be done, but for me, I believe we need to pin down a bit more the issues that the public have with the press. Because to say corruption, what does corruption mean? To say we don't trust the police, in what capacity? Because I know if you were to speak about stop and search with somebody and you were to say, do you think the police would be respectful to you during an encounter of stop and search, they'd probably say no. But if you said if you dialed 999 and you was a victim of crime, would you receive a professional service? They may say yes. So I think there's an issue, we need to define what trust means.
Okay, talking about the sort of things that came out from last week. I mean, we interviewed the policing minister, Duwayne Brooks, this morning, and he was saying, you know, we've given more money and more powers to the Independent Police Complaints Commission. There's more transparency than ever before. The police know they're kind of under the scrutiny more than ever before. Does any of that give you any kind of confidence?
No, and I think that's the issue, because we've seen for the last 15 years that there hasn't been the transparency that we would expect. So the public cannot develop that trust that should be there when you have a good relationship with the Met. Now, you can pump as much money into the Met as you want. You can pump as much money into the IPCC as you want. The view will always be the IPCC cannot be trusted to investigate complaints because a huge number of their staff are ex-police officers.
Okay, so you would like to see a completely new body?
That's too easy, in a sense. That's too easy to say, which Labour did before when we transitioned from the PCA to the IPCC. We've got a new body, new functions, they will deal with complaints, build trust and confidence. It hasn't happened. So what we need is changes at the IPCC. We cannot have an independent body that is full of ex-police officers.
Okay. What do you think has gone wrong with policing? I mean, you see the sort of things that were revealed last week. How did we get to that stage? What are your thoughts on that?
Policing is a difficult subject to speak about. And I think the number one issue for the Met is they will do anything they can to protect their integrity. So rather than put their hands up and say, sorry, we made a mistake, it's a pull up the drawbridges, batten down the hatches, and deny, deny, deny. And because we've got that culture in the Met, it's been a huge job to change it. So even though we've had different commissioners coming in saying they want to change this, they're going to do with corruption, they're going to do with racism, the culture's still there, and once the culture's still there and still surviving, there will not be any significant change.
Okay. What about your own personal circumstances? Do you have trust in the police?
If we're talking about the Met as a whole, do I trust the Met as a whole? I'd have to say no. But individual officers who I have a personal relationship, I would have to say yes.
I mean, if you were in trouble, or if you, you know, as you say, if you dialed 999, would you trust that you would get a professional?
Yes, I believe that I would have a professional service. If I called 999, I'm a victim of crime, I dial 999 and the officers attend, I believe I will have a professional service from those officers. And we must not forget, even though thousands of people are saying in this poll that they may not trust the police, there are a huge number of people in London who have never had any interaction with the police, never been arrested, never been stopped and searched, haven't been to a meeting where they've encountered police officers. And they will be swayed by polls like this. And this can have a bad influence. So when there is an encounter, people's minds are already made up. And we must also not forget that there are thousands of police officers that do a wonderful job protecting us Londoners, day in, day out, 365 days a year. And we must support those officers if we do want to get rid of corruption and we do want to build trust and confidence in the Met.
You meet the Commissioner on occasions. If you have one thing that you could say to him that you think would address this problem about corruption and the public perception that it exists within the police, what would you say you should do?
Well, I don't have all the answers, but I've got 3 specific things that he could start with. And one would be to get rid of those advisors that they've had there for decades. Number 2 would be to get rid of the dinosaurs, what they have on the independent advisory groups, because they have all lost their objectivity. They've been there for too long. having cups of tea, chocolate biscuits, etc. And the third thing is, put your hand up and apologise when you're wrong. Be open, be transparent, and be prepared to move forward.
Do you think they haven't done that in the past?
Of course not. And that's why we have the issues we have today. If they were open and transparent back 15 years ago at the end of the Macpherson inquiry, we wouldn't be here today.
Do you think trust can be rebuilt and confidence can be rebuilt in the police?
Of course. Of course it can. Trust is about relationships, so you need to build those relationships. And once you build the relationships up, trust comes. With trust comes confidence. If we start to support those wonderful officers that do a great job day in, day out, the relationship becomes more productive, trust, confidence follows.